in a realm beyond time and space, where galaxies shimmered like dust motes in a sunbeam. The goddess Amateraia watched over the threads of fate. Each strand represented a life, a story, a universe of possibilities. Her gaze, however, was fixed on one particular thread, glowing with a faint but persistent light amidst the tapestry of humanity. This thread belonged to a young man in Tokyo named Takumi Hoshino. His life was ordinary. He worked a mundane job, lived in a small apartment, and felt a profound sense of loneliness, like a ghost haunting his own existence. He was overlooked, unnoticed, a single drop in the vast ocean of the city. Amateria's voice, a soft echo through the cosmos, whispered, "His life is so fleeting, a whisper in the wind." Yet there is a spark within him, a resilience forged in solitude, a kindness that has never had a chance to bloom. With a graceful wave of her hand, a portal of pure golden light tore through the fabric of reality, reaching down into Takumi's world. "Takumi Hoshino," she declared, her voice resonating with power and promise. "A new life awaits you, a world where your hidden strength can become a legend, where your choices will shape destinies. But be warned, this path is not without its burdens. Destiny is a heavy mantle, and failure is not an option." For Takumi, the world dissolved in an instant. The familiar grey of his apartment was swallowed by an all-consuming, brilliant light. He didn't feel fear, only a profound warmth, a sense of purpose settling deep into his soul, and a feeling he'd only ever dreamed of: companionship. When Takumi's eyes fluttered open, the sterile ceiling of his apartment was gone. In its place was a sky of liquid gold, streaked with hues of amethyst and rose. He was lying on a bed of soft, mossy earth, in a forest that pulsed with an energy he could feel on his skin. Strange, beautiful birds with shimmering iridescent feathers soared overhead, their calls like musical chimes. The flowers around him glowed with a faint magical luminescence, their petals unfurling in the gentle breeze. He pushed himself up, his head spinning. "You're finally awake," a soft yet firm voice said from nearby. Takumi turned, and his breath caught. Standing before him was a young woman with fiery red hair that seemed to crackle with an inner flame, and her eyes held the same untamed energy. This was Lyra, a mage of incredible power. Before he could respond, two more figures emerged from the dappled light of the forest. One was a swordswoman, with hair like spun silver, and a gaze as serene and sharp as a moonlit blade. This was Celine. The other was an archer, her smile as bright as the sun, a bow strung with pure light slung over her shoulder. This was Mina. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes narrowing as she sized him up. You're the hero the goddess spoke of." Her tone was skeptical, tinged with a hint of challenge. Takumi, still trying to process the talking flowers and glowing sky, could only mutter, apparently. He felt a hand on his shoulder, and Selina's calm voice washed over him. "The goddess told us you would come. Our fates are now intertwined. We fight together as one." Well then, what are we waiting for? Let's start the adventure. This world won't save itself, you know? A guttural snarl echoed from the trees, and a horde of grotesque goblins, armed with crude, rusty weapons, swarmed from the undergrowth. Their beady eyes filled with malice. Panic flared in Takumi's chest, but instinct took over. He threw his hands up defensively, and in a flash of brilliant light, a perfectly balanced, ornate sword materialized in his grip, feeling as natural as his own arm. The goblin's lunged time seemed to slow down. Takumi moved with a grace and speed he never knew he possessed, his blade a blur of silver as he parried and struck. His movements were fluid, innate, as if he had been training his entire life for this very moment. A massive fireball erupted beside him, engulfing a group of goblins in a roaring Inferno Lyra's work. To his other side, Celine was a whirlwind of steel, her sword dancing through the enemy ranks with surgical precision, each strike disabling an opponent. From the rear, arrows of light rained down, each one finding its mark with unring accuracy, courtesy of Mina. They fought not as for individuals, but as a single, unstoppable unit. As the last goblin fell, a strange, exhilarating energy surged through Takumi's body. A voice, ancient and powerful, echoed not in his ears, but directly in his mind. Level up. New ability unlocked. Elemental shift. You can now channel the essence of fire, ice, and lightning through your blade. His heart pounded. Hesitantly, he focused his will. He swung his sword, and a wave of fire scorched the earth before him. He focused again, and a sheet of ice instantly froze a nearby stream. He held his hand out, and crackling arcs of lightning danced between his fingers. He felt powerful, almost invincible, but looking at the scorched earth and frozen water, he also felt the immense weight of this new power. This was a responsibility, not just a gift. The days that followed blurred into a whirlwind of travel, training, and battle. The world of Eldoria was as dangerous as it was beautiful, and Takumi had to learn its rules fast. He wasn't just a hero, he was a student. Lyra took it upon herself to teach him the fundamentals of magic. She showed him how to feel the flow of mana in the world, and within himself, how to shape it into spells. Her lessons were often punctuated by playful teasing and witty remarks, but beneath her fiery exterior, Takumi sensed a deep, protective care. Celine became his master in the art of the sword. Her training was rigorous and precise. She taught him footwork, parrying techniques, and battlefield tactics. She was a woman of few words, but her actions spoke volumes. During their spars, she would push him to his limits, but in battle, she was always there. A silent guardian watching his back, her loyalty an unshakable shield for the group. He gained Shadow Strike, an ability that let him meld with the darkness for a single, devastating stealth attack. And as his power grew, he even unlocked Dragon's Roar, a cataclysmic elemental strike that could level a small army. But more important than the power he gained was the bond he forged with Lyra, Selene, and Mina. They were no longer just companions assigned to him by a goddess. Their laughter filled the quiet nights around the campfire. Their encouragement fueled him through the grueling training, and their unwavering presence beside him in battle gave him the courage to face any danger. Takumi Hoshino, the lonely young man from Tokyo, had found his place. His adventure had just begun, but he was no longer walking the path alone. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter of our hero's journey.